And hello, everyone. Happy Friday. Happy to be back. Get a grip with Coach Elix. I'm your host, Coach Elix, and with me, my amazing co host,
Stephen Frederick is here.
Stephen Frederick, Stephen the medium, Stephen my husband, Stephen the attorney. All of these Stevens are in
That's
the
right.
house. Yeah, that's right. And today, Stephen, we're delighted to be back after an amazing, to say the least, week in Los Angeles, where it was a dream come true for both of us. You want to, how you doing, first of all? And it's like, tell me your thoughts.
I'm tired. I'm tired. I think some people can adjust quickly to like a time change difference, like 3 hours on the West Coast, and some can't. And I don't know if I don't know if it's because of my connection to dead people that like I got a lot of energy. All I can tell you is that I'm starting to get back today. Like even yesterday, I was still like dragging, just being a little bit tired, like almost like feeling like I'm not in the right time zone. But I am back. I'm good, and it was that whole trip was worth being a little tired for. I'll tell you that.
And then some. But listen, I don't know. Well, maybe the spirit thing amplifies how you feel for you, but I'm telling you, Stephen, I feel exhausted, but also we this was not a vacation for us. We were working, and we have a project that we're working on, and we landed Tuesday night. Between Wednesday, Thursday, Friday we worked, and then Saturday, Sunday we worked all day.
Yes.
So we were very busy. But the one thing that we end, because it's not like like the only thing, but one of the things that I love that we did, Stephen, that we had time for early in the morning is we got up, we went to Griffith Park, we ran an average of what, 5 miles every day?
Yeah. I mean, I think we were there for a week, and we were over 30 miles for that week.
Over 30 miles, and this is, by the way, this is not flat running, this is hills. And Steven is a very agile runner. He already does a lot of trail running, so his legs are like rocks. Me, on the other hand, I'm not an agile anything as it relates to running, so this was tough, but I did it
You did do it.
anyways. I did do it, and it was
Yes.
just being there, Stephen. Griffith Park. It's like probably they refer to it as the California or the Los Angeles Central Park, if you will. And it was spectacular, wasn't it?
The you know what, there were hills, and a couple of times we did that particular path that the entire like going up is an incline, and certainly some are definitely more subtle, but you are still going up, and then maybe a little bit it's like a little flat, but then it goes up again
But it's
because
not flat. It's like it's a flat within an incline. I
yeah,
mean,
yeah,
it was
and
crazy.
because the path or the road, if you will, is going up the hill and with all up the mountains rather. Coming back, of course, is beautiful because you're coming down. But then Elix and I realized too that coming down started getting as difficult as coming up, because coming down, we kept, both of us were like talking about how our toes were like sort of banging into the front of the sneakers because you're going downhill at a good pace. But I was going on Elix's pace, and he goes a little bit slower. But one of
And
the days,
by a little bit slower, what he really wants to say, he kills my time, and I am very, very slow. Tell them the truth. Tell them exactly
I didn't
what you
say
mean.
that. I said,
It,
listen, I ran with
mm,
you, and yes, you are much slower, which is
mm.
fine. I did run with you. I was about to say there was one day that we did that same path, and then when we turned, I came down by myself just I needed one of those sort of explosive days, and I was flying down. I think it was like about, I don't know, somewhere around 7. that I was coming down the hill, which is a lot coming down. I mean, it's easier to go faster because you're coming down, but then you also have to be obviously very careful because you can really pick up speed. And it was like the coolest feeling, just flying down that hill and, and going, like running by, and there's deer just like running by you. And some of the, some of the sounds of the birds were much different than the East Coast, which was pretty cool. So, but getting in there was pretty amazing. And we also, the first day, the first night we went to eat at this little restaurant. So we asked the server, this younger girl, is there any place that she knows of that we could run? And we had already checked in with the hotel, and they told us this Griffith Park, right? Which they didn't say Griffith Park, but they said something else. And Cedar, right? Yeah.
Yes.
And so we sort of knew that. And then this girl was like, "Yeah, I run." And we're like, "Oh, so where is there a place?" "Oh, I don't know, not around here." I'm like, "Well, what about Cedar Park?" "What?" It was like 2 blocks over. I'm like, "Yeah, I don't know where the hell she runs, but clearly not around here."
But we definitely not around here.
No, but when we pulled in, the next morning we pulled in, we went to Griffith Park, and there was a woman who was getting out of her van with, like, I don't know, 8, 10, 12 dogs. And I just rolled down the window and told her we were new here, we'd never been here, and we wanted to run. And she became our best friend. We saw her every day, and we're following each other. So like a big shout out to Brooklyn, and her energy was fantastic. And I said to Helix, her job in the morning is to pick up 10 dogs and then just walk in this beautiful place with the energy of these animals. I want that. I want that job.
Yes. And talking about shout outs, I want to do a couple of shout outs. First, I also want to, one of the things that we did make time for was to have dinner with David. It's Lefebvre, right,
Yes.
Stephen? And his wife, Casey. David is a renowned chef in Los Angeles, owns a number of restaurants, and he actually invited us to dinner, and just a shout out to him and thank you again. Is that David in the background? Like breathing heavy.
David, we hear you chewing. We hear you
Oh my God,
swallowing.
David, can you? It sounds like a porn movie in the
I
back.
thought we were in the cinema, and the
Yeah,
people behind us in
seriously.
the row are eating popcorn.
He's like breathing heavy, like something's going on.
Oh, you gotta love him. You
Anyways.
have to love him.
Anyways, I can totally see Jim running, because David is probably not even listening to us, and we love him. Anyway, so shout out to him. It was absolutely awesome to have dinner.
It was a great
with
dinner.
him and meet his wife Casey. But most importantly, Stephen, I want to do a shout out to our team in LA, Brandon, director, executive producer Jordan, Ian, Ram,
All of them.
Erica. Who help me with names? Ethan,
Yeah, they were just all
makeup girl. What was her name?
Lord, makeup
Morgan?
girl. Megan.
Megan. She was
Oh,
fabulous.
Lord,
She made us look really. And John, the wardrobe person. John, thank you. I just want to give them all a shout out for just, oh my God, a spectacular job. Anything else, Stephen?
No.
And so what else is going on? What else it's going on?
Nothing. Just getting back into the swing of things since we've been back. We've got another gigantic shout out to Eva Milagros.
Oh my goodness.
How could you
Eva
forget her?
Milagros. Yes. No, we can. No, that's why we leave the best for last.
Oh, we do.
because
That's right.
Eva stayed in the house. She took care of our young boy, Rubito, and he's so bonded with her. And oh my goodness, we could not have leave him in better hands.
No, I mean she's your primo, your cousin from Puerto Rico. She stayed here or came here to take care of Django, and sadly she leaves tomorrow. So it's at least we had some days with her, and the balance of when you get back from vacation, and then you gotta, like, especially when you own your own business like both of us do, we just have to get back into to the swing of things and start working again. So that you know in trying to sort of like get everything back into to place, that plus trying to give all this love to Ava too. So just thanking her is a lot. So I'm gonna miss her when she leaves tomorrow.
Yes, we are, but I'm sure she wants to be home. She wants to see her children and mom and
Back
all
in
the
PR,
people
right?
back in Puerto Rico. So, anything else, Stephen? Any other highlights that we want to give our listeners before we head into our first commercial break?
Oh, yeah. Oh my God. There's a lot, but I am like so tired. Just to manage to get it out. It's like, oh my God.
You sound like a valley girl. I mean, seriously, you sound like a valley girl
Oh
from
my
LA,
God.
from the
Oh my
valley. Like
God.
seriously. Um, anyways,
No, there's a
no,
lot.
no,
I mean, just
seriously.
work is, there's a lot going on. There's just a lot. Again, getting back to work, and I'm always thinking about different and new things to add um, to my CV and what I'm doing here as a medium. So there's always stuff going on. There's already something I was thinking about this morning as I was running too. So and the one thing that I have to do that I don't know if anyone else gets this or doesn't get this, but I need like a notebook that just is like, and not a to-do list, or maybe just like an idea list of things I got to jot down. There's so much in my head, and then I'm like usually running outside, or today I was on the treadmill, and it usually comes into my head of like this new idea, and I'm thinking all about it and where I can go with it, and it just goes. That's how a whisper in a note came about on my website, which I'm doing two of them today, and I get really into the details, and then all of a sudden, I'm done working out. I'm like, oh, I got to jot it down, and I don't. And then that night, I'm like, what was that? What was I thinking about? So it's something that I got to make sure that I implement really quickly.
Well, I'm telling you right now, I'm think of ideas every day, all the time, and within seconds, I forget what the idea was. So I'm
Yeah, so that's why
whatever you
you
whatever
need an
you get,
idea, an idea like
notebook.
notebook. Yes,
Yeah. Okay. Well, maybe we'll implement that all together. But listen, we
yes,
do have to take our first commercial break. But today's
yes.
conversation is really about the illusion of time, and this is a subject that I know you've been wanting to talk about. So I'm excited, and it's really, you know, it's time is something that we all have, and none of us control. So if this is something that resonates with you, stay tuned, and we'll be right back. And hello, everyone. Welcome back to Get a Grip with Coach Elix. I'm your host, Coach Elix, and with me, my amazing co host,
Stephen the Medium.
Stephen the Medium, who is also my incredible husband. In today's conversation, it's about something that we all believe we have, yet none of us truly control, and that is time. See, we live our lives as if time is guaranteed, and it's there. If there's will always be a tomorrow. That's how we all live every day, day in, day out, as if there were more time than we actually have. And we tell ourselves we will get to it later, or we'll have a conversation someday, but not now. We'll make the change some other time when it feels right, when the timing's right. But here's something really fascinating. Even Einstein challenged the way we think about time. And his theory of relativity tells us that time is not fixed. It is not this constant, reliable thing that we all experience the same way. Time is relative. It stretches, it contracts, it moves differently depending on where you are and how you're living, which is exactly why you may have noticed that an hour can feel like a moment when you are fully present, and um, it can feel like forever when you are struggling or when you are in pain. So even science tells us something really powerful, and that is that time is not as solid as we think, and yet we live as if time is really guaranteed. So there's also another illusion we carry, the belief that there is that perfect time, the perfect time to start, the perfect time to speak, the perfect time to change. But what if that moment never comes? What if the only moment that truly exists is this one, right now? So, Stephen, I would love to start with you because this is a conversation that is quite present in our everyday lives. And this is a subject that you wanted to really bring forth to our listeners from your experience as a medium. How does the perception of time changes beyond this lifetime? Are you there?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. So I was hearing everything. I think I hit mute by accident. Um, I have said to many people, and even on the radio show, your show, my show, that I teach a lot of courses, and one of the classes I teach is about time, and I talk about Einstein, and I talk about time is not linear, and it's part of going into parallel lives and past lives, and whatnot. One thing I would say from listening to what you just said is you use the example of when you're present, time can fly by. I mean, in my opinion of time is that, and God only knows I talk about being in the present all the time in my courses too, in my classes, is that when you're in the present, there's no time either. You can't be in the present and have some kind of assessment that the time is going by fast. You have no kind of assessment about anything except what is right there in front of you. So if you're thinking about time or feeling like time went by so fast, you're not in the present, right? I mean, you can't be. You have to be just there. It's like someone just plopped you, and you're enjoying every second in that present moment. But when you ask about spirit connected to this, I think almost every reading, there's some element of somebody in spirit saying to me as I'm doing a reading for whomever I'm doing the reading for, a reminder of how fast time goes by here. Mm-hmm. And it's constant. And I know that because sometimes it's not direct, sometimes it is, but sometimes, a lot of times, it's more about someone in spirit talking about how they have, one regret. And one of the regrets is not spending time on what they wanted to do, and that could be as simple as just being happy, being silly, being joyful, or doing a particular thing that's on their bucket list. So it's pretty incredible what spirit gives me as a perspective. And I also know what you're saying when you just started talking about time too, Elix, because there are days that, when you're working or you're just around the house that you're like, and everyone has heard this, oh my God, this day is never going to end. Or sometimes like, where did the time go, right? And I think that supports everything you're saying.
Yeah, I think as I'm listening to you, because I do get it. I get exactly what you're saying. I get that being in the now, when you're in that moment in the now, there's not such thing as time. I think in now, if I was to frame that differently, I would say when you love what you're doing, time passes by, right? You don't even notice. When you're experiencing something other than that, grief, pain, upset, or or doing something you don't love, time, takes, feels like eternity. I think that's the better distinction. But that is the point. The point is that we all have, right. We all have the same time, right? There's 365 days. There's 24 hours in a day. There's 7 days in a week. Nobody gets more. Nobody gets less. Yet we don't. That's not how we relate to time. You get what I'm saying, Steven?
Yes.
So let me ask you also this. Let's sort of begin with that first illusion that we have all the time that we need. And we move through life assuming that there will always be another opportunity, right? We'll always have another opportunity for that conversation. We'll have another chance to apologize or to do something, or we'll have that other moment. But time is not promised to us. And you used a metaphor that to me was just very impactful. You talked about I think it's called the glass hour. Is that am I getting
an
that right?
hourglass, yes.
An hourglass. So tell us about that metaphor and tell us why people should pay attention to that.
Well, I posted this, I don't know, several months ago on social media, and the post was just explaining the hourglass, and really what the hourglass represents. That the post said something like, when you're born, the second you're born, you have an hourglass that is assigned to you, and it's flipped. So, the sand starts coming down like an hourglass does. And, one sand pellet, by itself and just keeps coming and coming and coming. And at some point, that sand is going to run out. And the moment that last grain of sand falls is when you leave this earth, right? So you got the hourglass. When you're born, it's flipped and the sand starts falling. The problem is that not one of us knows, for each one of us, when that last grain of sand is going to fall. So, we can't see it. So if we could see it, which, I mean, obviously, for many, many reasons we can, but just let's pretend we can. Let's pretend that a mom and dad have a baby, and dad's in the maternity ward or the room or wherever. Can you tell that I don't have kids? Wherever that the baby's born, and
God, Stephen.
So
for everyone else, he is an attorney and he passed the bar on the first time. So he's definitely got great. He's good looking. So move along. Let's go. Keep going.
So imagine the baby's born, and imagine the mother and father all of a sudden see right above the baby this hourglass that is flipped, and they get to visually see how much sand is in there, and somehow, some way, they can convert that amount of sand to how long this baby has to live. Also in reference to, is their baby going to pass before they pass? Like, they get this whole sort of, they can process this whole, process the sand by specific details to know, will my baby live to 98, or will my baby die before me and my husband die, having that information. Of course, we can't have that information. That would mess up the energy of the world, right? We just can't know that. But it's still there. And so it's a gamble on none of us know how long we're going to be here. I mean, at all. Because as you know, people die young, people die old. It doesn't matter. But the point of this is knowing that hourglass is turned over, you know that it's the clock is ticking, right? You know that you're on borrowed time, and with that said, because you're on borrowed time and you have no idea how much sand is in your hourglass, you have to take a perspective of getting stuff done now. It's not the I'll do it later, or I'll hold off, and that means not only just about going places or doing things you want to do, but that also means just saying things to people, I love you, and all of that kind of stuff. Just coming from a place of not knowing if the next minute you're going to be here.
Yeah. So again, if you're listening, I think what you just said highlights once again, why the most important part of living it's living in the now, living in the moment, because the past is done, over, right? That grain, if we look at your metaphor, think through that metaphor, that grain is fallen, right? But the future is also not a guarantee. It's an illusion, because none of us know how much more grains are left in that glass owl, right? So all we have is that moment. And I think that's really powerful. That's a really powerful way of living, Stephen.
Mm-hmm.
So another powerful way of living is knowing, recognizing that right now, we need to go on to another commercial break. So let's do that, and we'll continue with the conversation, the myth of the perfect time, which is the second illusion about time. We'll be right back. And hello, everyone, and welcome back to Get a Grip with Coach Elix. I'm your host, Coach Elix, and with me, my amazing co-host,
Attorney Masick.
And today, we're also joined by our amazing producer, Dave. And Dave, you want to share with the listeners what you just told us so that I don't kill it?
So I
So
mean, never mind that we didn't know that. So that's pretty cool. But so now, if anybody sees me going forward and you see me walking on my head, then you know
yeah,
why. Just
yeah.
saying. Just
I'll be
saying.
crawling from now on. Yeah,
I love it. Listen, I think the best part of the show is the commercials when we get to chat with him. So with Dave. So
well,
it's something else.
Dave is now everyone got to know Dave, and he's knowledge about feet, and we love you, Dave. Listen, well, okay, we did already, but listen, I there is what I would say is there's a second illusion, and that is the idea that there is a perfect time. And Dave, you may want to mute yourself because you're still live. So how about muting?
This is like a circus
Oh
here.
my goodness! I tell you.
All right. I just heard that I was never. So my mic wasn't on. I had it unmuted so you could hear me, but I actually wasn't there for the audience. They couldn't hear me. So
Also, we've been talking.
Oh.
We've
To
been talking
nobody.
to dead air.
yeah. Do you want me to
All
say
right.
it again?
Yes, we want you to say it
Come on,
because
man.
now
Okay. This was
if
important.
if they heard us
Okay.
only to talk about feet without
Yeah,
the context,
They're like,
need
what
to-
if
So,
he's
which
still
also
doing it?
means they didn't hear my heavy breathing before. Only you got to hear that. So
well,
Wow.
lucky us.
there you go. All right. So yeah. So the what I was saying, and the audience didn't hear because I don't know how to use this board. Obviously, was that so time moves slower, closer to the gravitational center, closer to large masses, the gravitational pull from that, right? So if you're standing on, if you ever saw like 2001 A Space Odyssey, time moves slower because he's on Jupiter, right? And then, but also like if you're at sea level here, time's going to move slower than you would if you were on, Mount Everest, right? It's going to move much faster up there. So also, there's a slight difference because your feet spend more time at sea level or at ground level, and your head spends much less time at ground level. Your feet age slightly slower than your head.
Okay, so now
that's-
I got to come up with something different because my zinger was just lost because no one knew what you were saying. So I got one. All right.
Okay, new
So
zinger.
short people, you have something to be thankful for because your head is closer to the ground.
Oh
Right?
gosh, yeah,
How's that?
nice. There you go.
I don't want to. I don't want to get any hate mail by anyone because they find that offensive. So.
And if you're when like broke college students, they just have a mattress on the floor,
Yeah, they.
so they're even when they sleep they're closer.
Okay, this is getting far worse because that could be applied to many other things. So, all right, let's move along,
All right.
David.
Thank you, Dave.
Thank you
you're
for
welcome.
sharing that theory with us. But I was saying that the second illusion is the idea that there is a perfect time, and we do often tell ourselves, I'll do it when things settle down. How many times you've heard yourself saying that? Or I'll do it when I feel ready. Or I'll do it when everything lines up. But the thing is, life does not work that way. And even science reminds us that life doesn't work that way. Just as we talked about Einstein, he showed us that time is definitely not fixed. It is relative, it is experience, and yet we keep waiting for this imagined right moment when everything is going to be perfect to do whatever it is that we need to do. But here's the truth: the perfect time, is not something that we find, it's something that we decide. And one thing that I often remind myself, if the perfect time does not exist, then the right time to act is right now. It sort of circles back to do that, to right now is the only time. So you got to be decisive in the moment. So, Stephen, from your experience, right? How does this come up? How do you hear these often? People saying, I've waited, to do what I wanted, what I loved, and I didn't have the opportunity. How does that come up in your experience when you're meeting with people who come to you to speak to their loved ones in spirit?
Well, usually it comes up via spirit, right? Usually when I'm doing readings, spirit, whoever is coming through for the person I'm reading, will make a comment about, like, this happened to maybe, I don't know, probably about a month ago. I was reading this woman, and her mother was in spirit. Her mother had died like a year before, so not that long ago. And she had me bring up Hawaii. So I said to the girl I was reading, your mom wants me to talk about Hawaii. I'm like, do you know why? And she got a smile on her face, and she said that one thing that she's been saying to her mom before her mom passed away all the time was that that's like on her bucket list. It's a dream, but it's too expensive. And I'm like, listen, that's your mother's bringing that up for no other reason than you need to just get to Hawaii. Like, and of course I bring the whole conversation up because Spirit's telling me is that how fast this life goes by, and that, again, I don't get into what we're talking about, like time is an illusion and all of that, but I do my best to try to say, listen, your mom did this, like she walked this physical earth just like you are, just like I am, and now she has the benefit of where she is in spirit to be able to look at her life and gets the realization that time goes by and this life goes by so fast that the point of being here, or at least a part of why we're here, is to find that joy, right, and happiness. And the girl I'm reading, going to Hawaii would do that because that's all she ever wanted. It's the one place she wanted to go to. So stuff like that happens in different ways, and the spirit is very slick the way they bring stuff forward. But it always there's always an element of the reading that just talks about when you're here, how fast time goes by, and that you have to do what you want to do. And I'll tell you, Elix, some of it, and I say some of it, even though I think it's more than some, I think a lot of it is sort of our egos. Where all of us, and it comes natural to all of us, is that I think we are a little cocky, thinking, I got time. I don't need to do this now. I have other priorities that I want to get done. So, I haven't seen this person, in a couple of years. We were really tight. We're good friends. And, they're going to be here for a little bit, and they want to do lunch or get together. And, I got some time. I got time. And then you don't have the time. So it's just, I think it's just the way we are as humans, that we're a little cocky. Like, we think, I'm too young. Nothing's going to happen to me.
Yeah, we live with the arrogance. As you said, human beings, we are arrogant in thinking that we got plenty of time and that tomorrow is a guarantee, and the reality, it isn't a guarantee. I also, believe, Stephen, that the lack of trusting our inner knowing, right? Because often we know we need to do something, but we don't trust that. And often it's got to do with that ego that gets in the way as well. But what is something that you can share with the audience, the listeners, to help them trust that inner knowing, that gut, that, I need to do this and I need to do it now?
Wow, I mean, that's a really loaded sort of question, because I think that I don't know if people would think I'm answering the question, but I promise you I am. Just the knowledge that we don't die, We just change. We're in a different format. Just understanding that is really many steps forward, or you're taking many steps forward to be connected to spirit. But what I'm saying, why I'm saying that, is because that also means you're being connected to your gut, like to like what you're feeling, and that is obviously also connected to spirit. So when you're in that place, you not only have the ability to be able to get a little shove or a little push or a little whisper from spirit about maybe doing something, like, or giving you the sort of the thumbs up. I think when you take those steps and really get that our loved ones are still here, they're with us. I also think that part of knowing that is also knowing that part of this journey also is the relationships you build with people. And I think that's where the such beauty comes from, and such love comes from, when you get to, if it's something as quick as holding the door up, like open for somebody, and they say thank you, and you just have a little mini conversation, or it's someone that you're good friends with and you're getting to go to dinner with. I think all of it, just, it gives you a different perspective when you know spirit is still here, and they can access you more easily to help you feel things, and know, like, you know what, because it really is, it's all about just doing it, right? That's there's no other way except saying, I'm going to do it. Like the example I use, I'm booking Hawaii, end of story, right? You do it. So
I love that, Stephen. It reminds me of our own personal story about deciding to move, sell our home, our previous home, and move. But
yes.
but before, maybe we'll talk about that later. But right now, we do need to take another commercial break. So let's do that, and we'll continue with the conversation about the illusion of time when we come back. We'll be right back. And hello, everyone, and welcome back to Get a Grip with Coach Elex. I'm your host, Coach Elex, and with me, my amazing co-host,
I'm Steven the Medium.
Stephen the Medium, who is also my amazing husband. And today we're talking about the illusion of time. And, we discussed that first illusion is that we have all the time in the world. The second illusion is that we often wait for the perfect time to act. And so that what that leaves us with is if time is not guaranteed and the perfect moment does not exist, then what we're left with is the now. And Stephen has, talked about living in the now quite frequently. This moment, the only place where life is actually happening, it's right now. The present is not just a concept, it's only a place where action exists. It's only a place where connection happens. And it's only a place where change begins. And yet, it is the moment we most often overlooked. And Stephen, before the break, I shared that this reminded me of the two of us, right? Right during COVID. I think, what was it, 2020?
Yes.
We were walking, and you literally turned to me and you said, why have we not done anything about living in the house that of our dreams, or something to that extent, right? And I started realizing, yeah, we haven't done it because we've been waiting for the perfect time, right? And we had all kinds of reasons and excuses and justifications. And then I said to you, well, because we haven't taken action. And you said, okay, so what do we need to do? And I said, let's take the first step. And that's what we did. We started living in that moment, in that now, and we started taking that first step, and that led us to selling our home. I mean, I would say, what did we sell our house within 2 weeks?
I think even less.
Even less than that. And we found this home, and I believe we found this home because our mindset was so open to the possibility. We've already created that possibility by taking action, by searching for our dream home, and then voila, you discovered this home. What are your thoughts around that, Stephen?
Well, I think, like we talked about earlier, just you just have to do it, right? You just take that one step to move forward. But I also think it's connected to what I just mentioned about how humans are very cocky and they just think they have time. But there's also a second part of why. Because if you may say, so is it just because we think we have more time? Because that's what we believe. Time just keeps going, and that's why we think there's more time, and that's why we get that little cocky feeling of, I'll do it later, this time. But so much of that, if not all of it, if you dig a little bit deeper, I think the cockiness comes from insecurity. I really think that the beliefs that we've picked up in life are something that are stopping us from doing things, but our minds are very smart and very creative, so we can chalk it up to, I have time, I'll do it later, because most of us don't want to go and start investigating really why is there something I really want to do that I can figure out and I haven't done it yet. Why do I think about a business and I haven't started the business yet? Why do I want to see someone that I haven't seen yet? I think so much of it is really what's hidden behind these little walls that we put up, and they're just these insecurities that are really feeding why we're not doing things. And so we're not going to think that way, right? Because if we think that way, that's the first step of going into dissecting it. So the easy thing is, I have time. Yeah, I got a nice ego. I got time. So
Yeah. Let me ask you this, Stephen. If today was all that you had, what would matter most?
I think if this was it for me, I think I think I would really want to go back to like memories and starting with myself and just really giving myself credit for growing as a soul in this world. And we every one of us goes through things, some more than others. But for me, now what I think I would be like really focused on, or and even proud of, if this was it for me, is the progression that I've made, the ability to forgive myself, the ability to acknowledge myself, and of course, then after or after I focused on me, then how that also lent itself to others around me, and just, and I don't mean just like people, I just mean everything around me, because I think that's the way we have to think. Everybody and everything is energy. So how you know, when I run in the back almost every day, you know, how did I treat the land? like like was it good? Did I say hi? Like, did I connect all the
I
way
love
from
that.
there all the way to our dogs and animals, and right up to people? So
Yeah, I love that, Stephen. And I would answer that by simply asking myself, am I living my best life? Am I embodying the values that I talk about? And again, that doesn't mean I have to be perfect, because that doesn't exist, right? Humans, we're not, perfection is not a thing. But what it does mean is to bring so much self awareness, so that I can learn to make those corrections in the moment. I can learn in real. I can pay attention in real time when I'm not in alignment and when I am, and when I'm not, to correct, to get myself in alignment. And I also would ask myself, what, do I have any regrets? And if I do, what are they, so that I can then take action right now? Because again, all we have is the right now. And I'm not saying, by the way, this is it's easy. It's easy. It's not. It's actually challenging, because it requires intention. It requires purpose. Um, but the point is, if you're really committed to living your best life, it needs to start by living in the now, by paying attention, understanding that the only time that we have is right now. What else? Anything else that you would add, Stephen?
yeah, I mean, I think everything that you said also is so on point, and I think for me also is just really thinking about the, you know, the acknowledging other people, and really acknowledging that you don't know where they came from and why they are the way they are now. You don't know the wounds that they've had, and how they can just be like out of nowhere, just, you know, front and center, based on something that just happened, and not just, you know, just never understanding, like knowing, like acknowledging that you don't understand other people, and trying to acknowledge or understanding where they're coming from. Because, you know, it's just when I talked about, you know, what I would think about myself if this was the last day, I hope that I try to do the same thing for others too. But like you said, Elix, it's not easy, because we all come from a place, and, you know, what we're stuff that we're dealing with, in whether it's happiness or whether it's hurt, and it's always not the easiest, but you just got to keep trying, right?
I love that, Stephen. So if you're listening, I would invite you to ask yourself, what is one action that you can take today that aligns with the life that you want? That's it. One action. There's no right or wrong answer. It doesn't have to be something that is, you know, big or requires an Excel or anything like that. It's just simply one action. What is it? That's the one thing that you could do right now. that will align with that life that you want, that life that you envision yourself living. So, with that said, Stephen, we are at the top of the hour, and as we close today's conversation, I want to leave all of you with this, a reminder that again, even Einstein reminded us that time is not fixed; it is experience. But yet we move through life as if tomorrow is guaranteed, and it is not. The illusion is that we have time, that we have all the time, and we don't. The truth is that all that we have is this moment. So the question for you is, how I want to I want you to carry, this question. What would you differently? What would you do differently if you truly believe that now it's all that you have? And just be brutally honest with yourself. Because the reality is you don't know. You don't know. We, again, just as Stephen used that metaphor of the glass owl. Am I saying
The
that right,
hourglass.
Stephen? Yeah, hourglass. I'm sorry. You just don't know. We pretend we believe that we have all the time in the world, but we just don't know. So, what would you do differently if you truly believe that now it's all that you have? Because the right time is not something that you wait for. The right time is something that you choose, and that choice is always, always available to you right now. That's it, Stephen. We are at the top of the hour, the end of our show. Tell people how they can get a hold of you, and tell them that next week you are on with your show.
I'm up, baby. I'm up on the plate. And Through the Static happens next Friday, always the last Friday of the month. So don't miss it, because you can call and get a message and a connection from your loved ones in spirit. And you can find me at Stephen the Medium via website and via social media.
And you can find me at Coach Helix. And I'll see you again. I'll be with Stephen next week as his co-host. And then we'll see you. We'll be back together with Get a Grip with Coach Helix the week after next.
That's you, Dave, and everybody.
Thank you, Dave. Thank you, the entire staff at WARA 1320. And for all of you, have an amazing weekend. Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.